so the Yankees lose to the Dodgers in the World Series, and now they're getting shrapnel from a lot of people. And one of them is Joe Kelly, who was injured and did not participate in the World Series.
Which makes this even crazier.
And he said it was a mismatch from the get-go. If we had a playoff re-ranking, they might be ranked 8th or 9th best playoff team. You're putting the Padres ahead of them. You're putting the Phillies ahead of them. Putting the Mets ahead of them. You're putting the Braves ahead of them. The Guardians played like crap, but the Guardians played better defense and better baseball all around. It was a complete mismatch. All we knew is that we had to play regular Dodger baseball. We didn't do anything crazy, and we were going to win the World Series. Look at the team. Look at the talent. We go through numerous scouting reports. We pay attention to every single detail. We have a lot of big superstars in our clubhouse, but our superstars also care and aren't lazy and play hard. That's the difference and the biggest separator.
Wow.
Those are really strong words.
I mean, as strong as you'll hear, I think, a pro athlete say about another team.
Now, there's 3 superstars on the Yankees. 3. That's it. I guess you could say 4 if you add Stanton. Stanton, Judge, Soto, and Cole. So you're saying they don't play hard? What kind of nonsensical stuff is that? Now, if you want to say they're fundamentally not sound, it's hard to argue with that. It's hard to say that, you blew by them. They should have won Game 1, and they should have won Game 5, and they blew it. Now, if that's what you were depending on, that's a hard thing to depend on. But my, oh my, that is some incendiary comments from Joe Kelly, and I wonder why he even opened his mouth. He didn't play.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's not quite the same. Remember Frank Cashin in '86 as the guys that the least celebrate the most? And it's kind of like that. He didn't play, and that's a guy that you can't shut up. So obviously he's just trying to get some attention that he didn't get from not playing in the World Series. Now, just because a lot of it may be accurate as far as the Dodgers being better, but why are you stomping on the Dodgers' grave? You had nothing to do with it. You won. The trophy should speak all the volumes that you need. So it seems a little odd, but when you find out he didn't play, Michael, that's how do you get attention when you didn't get a chance to play? You do this.
It was odd. Now, there's a lot of things you can say about the game. I thought a lot about the series. And, somebody brought this up to me, and I guess Mike Lupica also had it in his story. Do you realize that 2 of the most famous ground balls to first base in the history of sports were by a guy named Mookie? Right? Mookie Betts and Mookie Wilson. Anyway, the thing that made that play, the Yankees will not like me saying this, but, hey, I'm spitting truth here, was that Mookie Betts was hustling flying down the line. Mm-hmm. He made them hurry. They didn't know what to do. Cole didn't think he could beat him there. Rizzo didn't think he could beat him there. It's because he was running hard. I've heard enough of the nonsense. Well, he's nursing this, he's nursing that. Run hard to first base. I saw it too many times during the year. They don't run hard. They don't all run hard. The more you run hard, even if it's just a ground ball to second base, it makes the defense speed up and you can get on base. The fact that they don't hold players accountable if they don't run hard, the only guy that got held accountable to that was Gleyber Torres. They must run hard. Alex Verdugo never ran hard to first base. Oh, he's nursing something. Really? Jazz Chisholm wasn't nursing anything. He jogged to first base a lot. It's got to end. It's got to end. Frank Howard, the old coach of the Yankees under Buck Showalter, used to say it best. Running hard 90 feet 4 times a day is not an awful way to make a living. Now, I'll give Stanton a break. He can't run hard. There's no speed there. Aaron Judge runs hard to first base all the time. Derek Jeter ran hard to first base all the time. Why can't you run hard? Look what it did for Mookie Betts. And the Dodgers did it all the time. You watch those 5 games, everybody. Did you see one Dodger jog to first base?
And they make it so that when the ball is in play, things like the 5th inning happen. Because the ball's in play and they make you hurry, they force you into mistakes. But, Michael, when you live in a world where it's all launch angle and it's all home runs and walks, are you really spending a lot of time thinking about busting it down the first base line when the goal is to hit over the wall, to hit the home run, hit the ball hard someplace else and not have the ball be
But the Dodgers hit a lot of home runs. It's not a hard ask. Go run hard to first base.
But their philosophy is to do that. John Smoltz brought it up multiple times during the World Series. They are going to force you to make a play. They're not going to take anything for granted. Smoltz said it. During the course of the regular season, you could take games for granted. You could take innings off. But when you're in the playoffs, you never take a moment off. You never take anything for granted. And give the Dodgers credit, Michael. They didn't take anything for granted. So, yeah, the Yankees contributed pretty much everything to that fifth inning, but the Dodgers forced the issue too, putting the ball in play, busting it hard down the first base line and to third, taking the extra base. They really did the fundamental things well and exposed a lot of the weaknesses that the Yankees had. I mean, Joe Kelly's not wrong about what he said. Well, the fact that he said it overall is wrong.
And also, for him to say they're the ninth best team in the playoffs, stop yourself.
No, well, that's silly. But I don't think. But here's the better thing to say. The more accurate thing is maybe they weren't the second best team. But to say no, because they obviously were better than Kansas City. They obviously were better than Cleveland. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone to the World Series. But we talked about this. If you wanted to power rank the Yankees, I don't know if they'd be the second best team just because they went to the World Series. But Joe Kelly shouldn't have said it. But what it tells you, Michael, is what was going on in that room in L.A., what they were preparing for. And they knew who they were taking on. They knew what they could take advantage of.
And remember Joel Sherman's column from last week. He quoted a Dodger source as saying, we knew if we just put the ball in play. So that's not a hustle thing. That's just, okay, they have some guys that aren't good defenders. I get it. Judge is not one of those guys. He just dropped the ball that he would make 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,001, and the baseball gods were just against him. You can't control physical errors. You can control running hard to first base. Anthony Volpe runs hard to first base all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Verdugo did not. Jazz Chisholm did not. I'm sorry. And it took a benching for Gleyber Torres to run hard, and he's not that fast. And it happens all the time. I don't understand why. Now, as for the baseball IQ stuff, the fundamentals, I don't know. I don't know whether to blame Boone. I don't know whether to blame the coaches. Are they just getting players that aren't good baseball fundamentally? I mean, Jazz Chisholm's a transcendent talent. The fact that the Marlins gave him away makes you wonder. Gleyber Torres is a really good player. The fact that he was included in that deal by the Cubs makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder. Maybe you can't teach them fundamentals because they're not fundamentally sound. Can you teach a guy who's 27 how to play fundamental baseball if they don't know already?
Well, can we please just come up with a consensus? How much responsibility does he have? Or is it organizational? Because every time something goes wrong, it's, the organization believes this way, but everything goes right. He's a heck of a manager. It probably is a fundamental flaw with this organization. The players they get, the players that they groom down in the minor leagues, are they as fundamentally sound as they need to be to go out there and win a championship? I don't know what Boone's supposed to do with grown men who have been in the league for years making mistakes. I mean, Gleyber Torres isn't a kid anymore, Michael. I mean, he did what he could. He benched him the one time, but, hey, he came from the Cubs. He's been with the Yankees for a long time, but how much of that is Boone? When a guy doesn't bust it or they can't field the ball, these are grown men playing major leagues.
Well, you know what? Busting it is all on Boone and the coaching staff. I'm sorry, it is. Running hard to first base. If you don't run hard, you should be taken out of the game.
But here's the thing: does he have the ability to do that? He did with Gleyber Torres because I think it finally was enough. But even then, when he did it, Michael, he almost apologized for doing it. The organization does not want him to discipline these players. You saw what happened to Joe Girardi when he got into it with Sanchez. I think that's where I would defend Boone, is that he's a third-generation baseball player, Michael. I don't think he needs to be told to tell his players to bust it down the first base line. His grandfather did, his dad did, and he did. But clearly, this organization does not like guys getting benched. They don't like their managers showing up their players, and they kind of let the inmates run the asylum. I mean, that's why Aaron Boone is here. So does Boone have the ability to get in these guys' face? Does he have the ability to bench them? Does he have the ability to call them out in a post-game press conference? That's what the fans want. That's what you're asking for, accountability. But there never seems to be that. Is that by choice by Aaron Boone, or is that something that comes down from above?
That I don't know, because but what I would answer is that there's no team that's more analytically driven than the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. So they're operating under the same rules that the Yankees have. All their players run hard. Why is that possible? And the Yankee players don't all run hard. Some of them do. Some of them don't.